Could I now introduce Kuba Szymanski of InterManager. Kuba is going to provide the ship manager's approach to human rights and his views.
Would you like your glasses? Very good morning, everyone. My name is indeed Kuba Szymanski, unpronounceable for some of you, I'm afraid. And I will be setting a scene. I did read the CVs of people who will be speaking after me, and obviously I know David, and I happen to be a director as well of Seafarers' Rights International, another organization which deals with human rights and seafarers. And I would like to take a look, although David introduced me as a ship manager, and absolutely I am Secretary General of that organization, but I think InterManager prides itself in looking after humans, and we do not call it human element, we call these guys people. And we look after our people, or at least we try to look after our people. And I would like to set a scene and bring us all back to the core subject. So when you guys sitting there and my fellow speakers talk about something, they do talk about people. So let's treat those subjects as people. Because the guy who is talking to you now is a human being, and he happens to be a seafarer. Difficult to believe at times? Well, I've got 2 arms, I'm a bit bald, but I'm a human being. So I'm a people. But let's start with who InterManager is. Many of you have never heard of us, which is okay. You may say because we keep a low profile. David, by the way, how much time do I have? Because I'm really good with timekeeping and I would like to keep it. It's 9:44.
You actually have 17 minutes. Because,
17 minutes.
We're on time.
Good stuff. I've got 16 here, 44.
Thank you.
I'll finish 10. I'm a ship manager, don't laugh, okay? I deliver, I deliver. So who are we? International Association of Ship Managers. Ship managers are those guys who are managing ships. 105 members, 48 ship managers, third party and associate members as well. And some of you associate members and full members are here. Hello, thank you for being with us. 250,000 seafarers. Okay, context of that. We've got 1.3, some people say 1.5 million seafarers. So InterManager looks after 250 human beings at sea. And we are NGO. Context, again, I'm sure you heard that before. 90% of all goods around the world are carried by us. Now I would like you to pause for a second and think about that. This thingy was on board of my ship. This shirt from Pakistan was on board of my ship. I even venture to say that this label was carried by my colleagues at sea, especially because we are in UK. So no surprise, we are an island. But anything and everything, guys, goes through the ships. So without us, we seafarers, it will be difficult to imagine today's life. And believe it or not, you don't hear that many times because we are portrayed as pollutants. But actually, shipping is the cleanest way of transport. 15 times cleaner than air, by the way. Okay, can you imagine that? It's not what you hear on the first pages of many, many magazines and newspapers. And somehow, we in shipping are not proud of it. We are shying away from good news. And look at this. I learned recently about that. And it's staggering to me. In 8 years of crisis where everybody is screaming and shouting, shipping industry doubled. How did we manage to do that? I have no idea. Because I can hear only screams and shouts and we've got no money. But that's what happens. And now think about that. If we doubled assets, what did we do with people working on board of those ships? We obviously doubled as well. A bit of a context, I'm still setting a scene. 1945, regular ship, probably smaller than today, would have 45 to 50 people on board. When I started going to sea 1980, 25 to 30. Today, my crew, 14, 18 people on board. Ships are twice as big, if not 3 times as big. And less people. Technology. And you see, I'm highlighting the word reliability. Because I think many of us seafarers do not appreciate the fact that we've got a problem, Houston. We are extremely reliable, up to the point that when we go ashore, we struggle. I struggle when I hear that my Vodafone phone covers 98% of UK. Why do I always find myself in this 2%? When I say that I finish this presentation 10 o'clock, guys, I'll finish. That's it. When I say that my ship will arrive, it will arrive. 99.99996, 6 sigma. That's how good shipping industry is. Have you ever heard that? No. What you heard is a lot bad things. These are the guys I'm working with, okay? This little one on the left-hand side for you, is it left-hand side for you? Yes, it is sitting 12 floors in the water. Can you imagine? 22, 23 meters draft. And it's run by 14 guys. Well, 18. Then you've got a little one on the right-hand side. That's Ben Macree. That's the ferry going from the Isle of Man, because I'm from the Isle of Man, to Liverpool. And it's regarded in the Isle of Man as a huge ship. I've never, as a seafarer, been on such a small ship, by the way. Moving on. This is not me. I thought it would be bad, but it's a colleague of mine. And yes, that's true. I am 50. And yes, that's true. When I went to sea, nobody heard about internet. Because internet was only, can you imagine that? Only invented 20 years ago. So this guy and myself, we can imagine living without internet quite easily. And the biggest problem we've got at the moment, and I am coming back to the human rights now, is the fact that we live on board of those ships in extremely complex environment. And unfortunately in shipping industry, we do not seem to grasp the term standardization. We've got a lot of things which are making our life really miserable. I have to learn a lot, and every time I'm on leave, I have to go to school and train and train and train and train. Regulations. Unfortunately, many of them are not being consulted with us. Things are being made for us without us actually participating in this. And that's what I would like to remind all of us in this room and fellow speakers, that human beings are there at sea. When you talk about things, remember there are people there. People, as George was saying, who would like to have a dignity. People who would like to have a freedom. People who would like to be respected. Why not? Everybody has the same right to do so. Can we change that? Can we actually involve a bit more of those stakeholders who are obeying by those regulations? Now I'm getting into 5 or 6 slides where I hope to deliver something. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about people, and quite rightly you are trying to help us, seafarers, please stop patronizing us. Because you are taking dignity away from me. If you read this, and this is taken from one of the organizations sitting here, who have a heart in the right place. Yes, this is great campaign. It was actually Christmas 2013, I think. But what message are you sending? How does my son feel? He reads that and he comes back and says, Dad, I will knit for you. Yes, I understand you haven't got a hat when it's cold there. That's not true, guys. It's absolutely not true. Reality check, if you want, is then I earn a lot of money. So does the Filipino captain. And Filipino captain, the lowest salary at the moment is probably $5,000 a year. A month. And that makes him pretty well off, as does me. I couldn't complain that I'm earning little money. And you would say, hey, Kuba, what are you talking about? There is a shortage of seafarers. There must be a problem. Well, actually, there isn't a shortage of seafarers. There is another way around. And I'm delighted we've got some cadets, or at least one cadet with us today. And she can tell you how she struggles to get a place on board because there is too many young people trying to get to sea. So how come? We've got a problem, Houston, or we don't have a problem, Houston? Is it a good job to be at sea, or is it not? Well, realities, please consult them, and you will see that there is a lot of work, very well paid at sea. And young people are not shying away from portrayed problems of isolation, lack of internet, and so on. Yes, there is a problem, but it's not a problem which will put young people away from good life, good salary, and good well-being, I would say. Stop sending mixed messages. On one hand, you give us this ship, 18,000 TEU. It's a huge one. I calculated if we offloaded all those containers in Felixstowe on the road, it will lead probably up to half of M25. One ship delivering something like that. Brits would understand, Brits in the audience would understand what I'm talking about. The other one is almost mine, VLCC. She carries plenty of fuel. I think somebody calculated 5 million cars could be put inside. That's how many. Yeah? We're talking business here. So on one hand, you employ me, pay me a lot of money to look after those guys. On the other hand, you send the message that I need to have a knitted cap because I'm cold. Hey guys. Stop sending mixed messages. Shipmaster earns as good as British Airways pilot. Okay? And British Airways pilot is regarded as a wow. Fine. Look at the arrangements we've got, and this is a problem. Left-hand side for you, every air crew on completion of their trip, which would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 hours, is preferentially treated. They are whisked through the security, they go away. I come after 2 or 3 months to Milford Haven, to Tilbury, and what do I have? Stop there. We don't want you. We want your cargo, but we don't necessarily want you, human being. And US is the worst of the worst. So help us there. On one hand, we are paying good money. On the other hand, we are not being treated the way we should be treated, okay? Image of our industry. I'm quite emotional about that, and I follow this. I'm actually a trained accident investigator. And funny enough, we train together with the air investigators in one of the universities here in UK. And look at the picture on the left-hand side. If I were to ask you, and I will, what do you remember from this accident? Lewin, what do you remember? Left-hand side accident. Do you remember where it happened? Dubai. What was the plane? 777. What else do you remember? Okay, I didn't remember that. That's terrible. Okay, I tell you what I remembered, and I was so impressed. 90 seconds, everybody evacuated. Hooray! That's true. That's absolutely great achievement. Now, what happened on the right-hand side? 34 people died, 4,500 people rescued. This guy is in jail. Have you heard anything about the pilot? Did he go to jail? Absolutely no news whatsoever. More importantly, you don't hear anything about the plane. Why did it catch fire? What happened? Why Dubai? Dubai is one of the best airports. Why Dubai was not able to extinguish it before it actually, and so on and so forth, going into technicalities. What I'm trying to paint here is disparity between treatment in shipping industry and air industry. And I envy them. They did manage to create an atmosphere where whenever there is an accident, there are only positives drawn out of it. Whenever there is an accident in our industry, There are only negatives. What could help seafarers? Bring back dignity of being a seafarer. Look at these young people here. They are humans, as I said at the very beginning. Can you believe that we've got children? Can you believe that we've got wives? Because sometimes when I listen to some speakers at some conferences and watch films and see all of this, I ask myself a question: what am I doing there? It's such a bleak and black, and it's all bad news. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that shipping industry is 99% excellent. I'm saying it's 99.9% excellent. It's just a very small fraction which we today will be dealing with. So this is the context, guys. Please do not go away from this room thinking that 99% of shipping industry is bad, because it's not true. If it was, you wouldn't be wearing your jewelry today, you wouldn't be wearing your shoes, you wouldn't be drinking water today. Shipping industry is excellent industry, up to the point that my son is at Fleetwood now. He is becoming a deck officer. If it was that bad, he would probably, clever enough, 23-year-old, wouldn't follow his father's steps. Stop criminalizing us. And I hope we will get some traction today on this one. It's unbelievable. IMO created a very good guideline which allows all governments to follow the same ethics, codes, but somehow refuse to do so. And we are not talking about Nigeria, we are not talking about Lagos, we are not talking about Malaysia, with all due respect, or Indonesia. We are talking about Norway, we are talking about UK, we are talking about highly civilized countries which just ignore international regulations or maybe guidelines, because IMO is not regulating anything, it's guiding us. I understand that we have no questions now, so if you check your time, I think I'm bound to say thank you. It must be 10 o'clock. Thank you.